Thanks for making time.
Thank you so much, and good morning, viewers.
Many thanks for making time to Godber Tumushabe, a political analyst. How did I pronounce? It's
Tumushabe,
not Tumushabe. Tumushabe.
Yeah.
Thanks for the correction. Nice to see you again after a long time.
Yeah. Great pleasure to be here. Good morning, our viewers.
I don't know whether you've been, I hope not being in the corridors of power or stretching the space.
No,
as far as civic education is concerned.
The corridors of power I left to the Freddies, so me, I'm just a regular guy doing regular things around town and up country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Later we shall be joined by Honorable Richard Ssebamala, the MP for Bukoto County. And of course, he's also seeking re-election in as far as the 2026 parliamentary polls are concerned. Gentlemen, let me begin by first getting your overview of how things are going right about now. You've been seeing what has been happening across the country, the nomination, the campaigns for presidential candidates, and the controversies that are beginning to emerge. What's your take? Bird's eye view? Godber first.
Yeah, no, I think I can just maybe make like 3 quick points. One is what we saw, first of all, during the primaries of the NRM, and then the selection of candidates by NUP, the obscene use of money, the violence that characterized the NRM elections, the bickering that characterized the elections both of NRM and NUP. And so you basically say, you see the emergence of, or the escalation of a toxic political environment. I think that in this election, especially the NRM primaries, I think that was the first time we had people and property people killed and property destroyed during a primary election. In previous primaries, we had some levels of violence. But I think in this particular one, then we had even people killed and property destroyed. So then we move from there and we come into the elections, the campaigns, the official campaigns. The fact that the presidential nominations really went on fairly well without many major incidents. But I think what is emerging is more to do with the parliamentary campaigns and the nominations for parliament, where again we've seen essentially the money at play, power, the use actually what I would say abuse of power. We are seeing the campaigns. I think generally, one would say that for all intents and purposes, going by the previous elections, this election has been, these campaigns are actually proceeding fairly well, in the sense that there aren't, gross levels of violence. The only concerning thing is when you see the level of deployment around Kyagulanyi's campaigns, because you can see that across the country you have massive deployments of police. These are groups, these are Ugandans who have been fairly reasonable, disciplined, supporting their campaigns. So you cannot explain in real terms why the regime would need to do the levels of deployment and blocking Kyagulanyi from using certain routes. And of course they normally do say this on pretext of security, but campaigns are campaigns. Citizens, when they have their candidates, whether you are a supporter of Kyagulanyi or Museveni or Muntu or whoever, that is the excitement that goes with the campaign process, and that can be managed for the campaign period to deploy the military and the police to the levels that are being deployed around Kyagulanyi's campaigns. I think is a negative for the process. But then finally, I think the one thing that is really bothering for me is these people you've said they are unopposed. You see, in elections there are 2 ways of cheating. One, you can cheat by stealing the votes. In other words, you wait, the votes are cast, and you steal them. And I think we saw that in the NRM primaries, where they stole even votes of people who were lining behind the people. in a constituency where in Ntungam, where I come from, there is a constituency where they announced the flag bearer. They announced 2 people at least 2 times each until the time of the nominations. So you can steal the votes. In another way of stealing is being able to buy out your opponents. So the fact that money has been accepted as a tool for political manipulation in our elections is really something very, very bothering, because then you don't get the quality of the elections that you need. Because when you use money, the obscene amounts of money that are being used, you are essentially reducing the credibility of the electoral process. Because the elections that are commanded by the Constitution, they basically have 3 tests. The one, they should be credible. Second, they should be fair. And third, they should be free. So at the end of the day, every election should be judged from that test. Now, when you bring in money and obscene amounts of money by people who are supposed to protect the Constitution, because you see the people who have been declared unopposed and all the stories around the way they have been manipulated the process, whether it's the prime minister, the speaker, the prime minister, the deputy speaker, these are people whose almost their primary mandate is to protect the Constitution, the sanctity of the Constitution, and then they can, but then they openly go out and basically violate or overlook the Constitution and the discipline that should characterize our elections.
Okay, thank you very much for that very deep overview. Commissioner Fred Bamwine, yes. What is your take on the political season this far, given the developments that have been coming through, especially since the primaries got underway?
Thank you so much. Before I dive into your question, you need to have a background of me. It's the right question to the wrong person, because I have never believed in multipartyism in developing countries.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned. So, and it was a lot of discussion before we into multipartyism. Well, that time there was a movement system of governance, whereby it had 4 principles. That was all-inclusive, broad-based, non-sectarian, and individual merit. But because of the pressure from the big boys in the globe, we are forced to go into multipartyism. And my argument during that referendum was, yes, multipartyism may have worked somewhere. But as far as our societies are concerned, these are still young societies which need to first have root like other countries have done. And then we do that. But of course, then there was this argument of, and belief that multipartyism is equal to democracy. And me, I was saying, no, we can have democracy without multipartyism. So the debate was settled in the referendum. But there was pressure. We went to Changwanzi to receive the report from the National Political Commission then, Chiyonga. Out of 85 districts, it was only 2 districts, Karangal and Kampala, which were saying that Uganda is ready for multipartyism. The rest were not. And actually it forced the president during his campaign to even coin a word that we are not leaving the movement system, but we are saying these people who are saying we are conscripted should be let go. So as far as I'm concerned, when you look at what has been achieved since we went into multipartyism and now, I think during the movement system we are doing much better politically than now. Now, when you go into multipartyism in a society which is classless, then you are likely to have parties based on other issues, non-national issues. You find people as being supported because of the color they put on, others are supported because of where they studied from, various issues that don't contribute much to national development. So since this has happened, some Ugandans have not followed well. For the first time, Electoral Commission 2021, after elections, in August, I think August, September they released the roadmap for 2026.
For 2026.
So, but very few followed it up. I think at Africana, they released the roadmap, how the country is going to move politically. And I want to credit them that since the roadmap they released, largely they have tried to follow what they had projected that time. Now, in May this year, I think, yes, that's when the NRM went into erecting their structures and the whole of 72,000 villages. So politically, those who wanted to play politics, I don't know whether it was an oversight or there were some other considerations. That's when the politics began. Because those who were elected at village level ended up being elected at the national level. Now, after the nomination of the presidents and subsequent members of parliament, I want first of all to credit two organizations. One, the Electoral Commission, has been fair, better than how it used to be in the past. Two, the security agencies. They have adopted the method that since some Ugandans are belligerent and come out open to say we are going to oppose this, they have also learned how to work with them tactfully. As what is important is to secure the country. But my misgiving is on the issue of those who are standing, largely. This is a time to elect good leaders, to bring a country from where we are to head. I have tried to listen to follow all the candidates, but you find that most national issues, there are very few candidates who are concentrating on national issues, and you find somebody is a presidential candidate, he's given these days for the whole district, and they spend on dancing and other issues without concentrating and say, this is why we want to come in. This is what we are promising you. So issues have been not largely been captured. I don't know whether they had not prepared enough, and it is giving a country a raw deal. For instance, if there is a party which wants to remove NRM, I would be interested to look at these superior ideas. For us, NRM has done A, B, C, D. It is promising A, B, C, D. For us, we have the idea, for instance, on household income. This is the way to go. For instance, on national security, this is what we have better than what is happening. If the NRM is promising to say yes, we must make sure that all the children go to school, I would wish to see those who are opposed to NRM, what are they picking up? Now, the issue of independence, the unopposed. Unopposed. Yeah. It is threefold. One, when you look from the names you have read, I think they are somehow spread the country. I've had Arua, Kiruhura, Ruhinda, Bukedia, and Soga. I think it has two issues. One, the character of the person who has been nominated and opposed, and the environment this person has played his or her politics. It may be either one who has performed very well, or the party he or she is supporting is grounded in that area to see that if this one goes, he'll be able to bring part of a national cake to this district because he or she is more capable than the other. But also some politicians, they know what they want, they are cunning. I have heard politicians say, I will not talk to Tumushabe. Others are saying, Tumushabe is opposed to me, I am going to talk to him, let rain, let shine, come. Now, out of that engagement, you are likely to have results of an opposed. But also that speaks also to the party. I was analyzing yesterday after being invited here. Chairpersons, LC3 and town councils who were nominated. There are 2,500. NUP managed to field 650 and NRM filled all the positions. What does it mean? It means where you have not been able to field, it is going to be difficult for you even to get somebody who can campaign for you. Then when you go to councillors 3, there are things 12,300. NUP managed to field 2,000, and NRM fielded all the 12,000. So that tells you that a party, I think it is Mr. Muntu who normally, General Muntu who mentions it, a party without structures, it is going to be very difficult for them to bring through leaders, to make an impact, because it is through these leaders that you are able to percolate down. Lastly, you remember there are 72,000 villages. NRM had 30 elected in May. If you corrected the total number, that is 2.16. Now, in terms of elections, because election is about the numbers, if one of those village leaders got 4 supporters, you're about 8 million, and whoever is going to win this election will be between 8 and 12. So really, I think some people don't take time to prepare, and others don't take time to analyze, and others take the public for granted. Okay, that is an interesting overview, no doubt, but we shall break down some of those aspects, especially whether somebody coming through as unopposed is representative of the party's grounded strategy, their own individual popularity, or the fact that the other parties are simply unable or are incapacitated to offer some competition. Godber, talk to us. Is this emergence of a new political disease, or are we simply dealing with the symptoms of a body politic that has gone wrong? When, for example, you hear the story surrounding the election or the declaration of the speaker in Bukoto, right from the point the Electoral Commission rolled out a roadmap, asked people to come through and express their intention to compete, it has been a case of stories of, contestants being either told they cannot compete, being deleted off the register, which by the time you get onto the register itself, you've basically certified all the aspects that are required. Just what are we dealing with here?
No, we are dealing with a very, very a big challenge. Actually, I call it political brokenness. You are dealing with a broken political system, and Fred here talks about the the multipartyism. I've always argued that you can have a country like Uganda, even in our conditions, you can run a decent multi-party political system if you understand that all citizens have equal rights to participate in the politics, and you create the conditions for everybody to participate. I don't think that there is any controversy that you have, that you need to have certain magical conditions for multipartyism to take place. Most of the Fred was previous at an RDC. He knows what RDCs do to try to disrupt the political activities of any other organization or any other political parties that is not NRM. For Ugandans who are actively involved in following these things, you know that NRM elections or whatever organization and mobilization is normally done by RDCs and the internal security organization. That's an open secret. That is right. Yeah. The other day I was just having a chat with my colleagues from Ntungamo. Because I was sharing a video of the assistant RDC basically organizing all these leaders, telling them openly that they have to vote for President Museveni, they have to vote for NRM, and these are educated people who have been given jobs to work for government of Uganda. not to work for a political party. They're supposed to work for government of Uganda. But you see, even when they are educated, they're exposed, they can go and do and basically break the law openly. And then normally we want to come and then start blaming multipartism. I think that's a very wrong way of looking at the problem of multipartism. But thirdly, you see, when I have argued time and again that as far as I'm concerned, the Electoral Commission doesn't actually know what is happening, other than announcing dates. I think this is a ritualistic arrangement. So when they say we have announced a roadmap, I never get the confidence that the Electoral Commission is actually in control of the political process.
I mean, announcing a roadmap or rolling it out is a basic task that ought to give direction.
Yeah, but you see, you can actually announce a roadmap that you don't have control over, because I think the last press conference that Chairman Byabakama had, he even confessed that they don't have a complete voters register. We haven't seen that. I have been, every time I try online on the Electoral Commission website, say, can I have access the voters register? Up to now, unless it has been uploaded in the last few days, you can't access it. Now, an election starts from the voters register. If you don't have a credible voters register, you cannot have a credible, free and fair election. And if you have, if you are the Electoral Commission and you are not in charge of the voters register, then what elections are you organizing? Secondly, the voting method. If you've had the Electoral Commission and the president, you actually realize that there are two groups that are organizing elections, because Byabakama is there saying this is how you are going to vote. And then the President Museveni basically says we are going to use the thumbprint verification. The Electoral Commission does not talk about that. So that means there is a system that is being organized by the President, who is also a candidate, that is going to do thumbprinting or that verification. So you realize that the Electoral Commission is not in charge of this process. Thirdly, you've had cases where even the Chief of Defense Forces has basically declared openly on Twitter, on his Twitter handle, and said, we want everybody to vote NRM. President Museveni is going to get 80%. This time round. These same people, the Chief of Defense Forces, the head of police, the head of security, they are the ones that are supposed to secure our votes as citizens. And one of the arguments that is normally that the NRM people normally put out and say, oh, you don't have agents at the polling station. So that means you are not able to protect your vote. Ordinarily, in a civilized country, in a civilized society, the Electoral Commission has the primary mandate to protect my vote as a citizen. Because that's why the Electoral Commission is there. There is a reason why the Electoral Commission is a constitutional body. It's not some wannabe organization. So it's given power, constitutional powers, to protect the sovereignty of citizens. That sovereignty is expressed through the ballot.
Okay.
Now, if my vote is not counted simply because NRM did not have an agent on the polling station, and I voted for NRM and my vote was not counted, it's because the Electoral Commission has no competence to do its job, not because NRM or any other party has the weakness it cannot deploy agents.
All right, thank you very much, Godber Tumushabe. We shall be returning to this conversation very shortly, but allow me go to my colleague Ivan K. Walinyolo, who is standing by to talk to us very briefly about the delivery, especially on local government services within Entebbe. This conversation is pertinent, as we do need to get it out of the way and then return to continue to dissect how the body politic is taking shape in Uganda ahead of the 2026 general election. the conversation always gets intense behind the scenes. I'm glad we're back in the studio to continue as we enter the final bend of our Kickstarter, where we are discussing what the unopposed candidates are sailing through long before the election is conducted on the 15th of January signals for the country. Joining us on set is Honorable Richard Ssebamala, the MP for Bukoto Central. The conversation had moved very, very widely, but allow me just share with you that all the 7 unopposed declared MPs right now are NRM. This means across the country, no opposition candidate has enjoyed the beauty of being declared unopposed, and this is a dark spot on the opposition.
Good morning, viewers. I believe the NRM is so selfish and it can't leave any opposition member to move unopposed. I believe if the NRM was fair, I would be unopposed. Because, I mean, even they can't even compare their candidates to me. The candidate they have, fronted for the Bukoto Central MP seat. But that is what they are. I didn't expect anyone to be unopposed in the opposition. However, I have a bad feeling about the people that are unopposed, the circumstances in which they have been unopposed. I heard the one of Bukedia has withdrew because of family pressure. Now, you ask yourself whether this person was coming to Parliament for country or for family. So there is a problem with why these people are unopposed. There's been a lot of transactional politics. If somebody had come for money, then they have been, bought out. If somebody, I hear family was surprised that I'm going to stand and ask me to get out. So people do not have issues really as to why they have not stood in those positions. But if you're out there to fight for your country and see better policies, check government, look at how budgets are shared amongst the different regions of this country, and be legislative, there's no reason as to why you don't contest. I congratulate those that have come out unopposed, and we look forward to working with them in the 12th Parliament.
All right, very quickly, Godber, I do not know whether it's me who is not abreast with the technicalities here, but in the event that any of these unopposed MPs now, God forbid, departs before January 15th, what happens? How does the Electoral Commission roll?
It's actually not even January 15th. It could be up to up to July.
The swearing in. The
swearing in, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you are nominated. If you pass through as unopposed, you are declared a winner. You remain a declared winner until the end of the current session of Parliament, and therefore the swearing in period. Now, most of these people are very powerful people. They can't pass away. So you can. So I wouldn't want even to speculate.
You should withdraw that statement.
Which one?
Most of these people it's God's will to call you at any one time.
No, I didn't realize that's what you meant by passing away. Yeah? But essentially what happens is that there is there's a sitting member of Parliament up to the time of the swearing in of the new Parliament. So in case a misfortune were to happen, and someone does not make it to the point of swearing in, I would expect that the Electoral Commission would conduct fresh nominations and do another election for that particular constituency. But that would not be called a by-election because the person is not, the person that has passed on is not a sitting member of Parliament at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Bamwine, the transactional aspects, many that have been seen to be the undertones for those that are unopposed, at least 3 are widely seen to have been able to use money and influence the fact that many people didn't come through. The aspect of transactional politics, the national resistance movement finds itself in a spot of bother when we talk about this. I do not know whether it's a conversation that comes through in boardrooms and political strategy rooms as the NRM is strategizing ahead of 2026. How do you deal with too much money in the political space?
You see, much as I'm going to comment about too much money in the political space, but
even unregulated, so to speak.
But Comrade Godber state assertions. He made a hypothesis as if we are now on the Mars. Because when he said there's no need of electoral commission should protect your vote. Yes, there's what it ought to be and what it is. And that's what distinguishes me from him. Because as far as I'm concerned, we are talking about Uganda, whereby Electoral Commission is aware that it is not competent enough legally to trust it. You should also have your own and it is within the law, by the way, to have your own candidate agents. But the country he was imagining is not here on the earth of Uganda. Maybe it will come sometime. Then two, we are comparing this election with the last one. Of course, the last one was the COVID-19 election, which had its own problems. Now, I am one of those who is too much disturbed with the use of money in politics. I have been an ardent follower of Ugandan politics. Before 1995 Constitution, NRC, RC that time, from 86 to 95, people used to come and present themselves. And you get nominated, talk about yourself, and people go and vote. They know that you're going to serve them. Now, unfortunately, the framers of the Constitution, I think they believed that anybody to become a member of parliament should have reached this level of outlived greed. So that when you're in that parliament, that's why they call them honorary members of parliament. You think about your country before you think about yourself. And unfortunately, that's not the situation. Once they are allowed members of parliament to determine their own emoluments, I think the only organ in Uganda which determines own emoluments, and you did not put enough safeguards on the quality of people who go in that parliament. That's where the challenge is. Because once somebody hears that a member of parliament picks about 50 million shillings per month, and somebody is getting zero a month,
grappling with poverty.
That's why people have turned
and yet they have their
politics into business. We should have looked at the quality of people that qualify to enter these political leaderships.
In other words, it's incumbent that
has now
a
turned
process
out to be
of
business.
rethinking, maybe it's the constitutionalism,
so it's one of the issues that we
but
must
also
seriously
reforms needed.
Look at this. What kind of, how can we make sure that anybody coming to leadership is coming to serve his country? And one of the things I'm proposing myself is to entice people from coming in. Disinterest.
How that can be achieved?
You determine that the member of parliament will get 5 million. You'll see the place empty.
Allow me ask Mr. Honorable Richard Ssebamala to wrap this conversation up by sharing with us what the Democratic Party is up to ahead of 2026. We do not know how many factions the party has. We do not know how many members of parliament it's fronting where. The numbers game seems to be against DP.
First and foremost, thank you for that insight, for requesting for that insight. First, it is a grieving moment. It is a funny moment for Democratic Party at the moment. We really hoped that we shall have a party president, and we shall that will vie for the presidential candidate. I'm wondering why Norbert Mao did not allow me contest and win and then go ahead and be in the presidential race. I think I had the Bible,
You
I
had
had
okay.
the policies, and I had everything that would take this country forward. However, I also have a very heavy heart for members that requested for party tickets and were not given party tickets. I understand Ken Mutenyo, Gerard Siranda, and other people kept dodging them. Whoever they did not believe supported their cause for the next 2026, 2031 was denied. There is a Kakande that was going to stand in with Dr. Kefa. There is a Ssebamala that was going to stand in Masaka City. There is a Protaz that was in Chenjojo. There are very many people that were denied party tickets just because of inferior interests and such things. However, we fronted around 70 candidates, and we are here to see, including our president, the one that was saying that Mao was saying that everyone is inferior to the job of party president because he's the only one that can lead this country. He's ending up as a... He's contacting both. Mao has ended up contesting on a VP stroke.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid I'm going to have to end this conversation. It is one that cannot end within the time from the Morning at NTV. But many thanks, Honorable Richard Ssebamala. Thanks to you too, Commissioner Fred Bamwine and Dr. Godber Tumushabe, for your insights. They've emboldened our understanding of some of these matters, especially as we head into the general election in 2026. We continue to say, as Nation Media Group, it's a bold voice, and the reportage comes in 360-degree for coverage. Everything that you need to know about Uganda's patterns, especially when it comes to the election processes. The Daily Monitor, NTV, and as well as the sister television station Spark and Dembe, as well as KFM. Just stay tuned to those and you'll be good to go. That's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.